Hernan Diaz's Trust is a layered metafictional novel that examines the construction of truth through four distinct narratives. At its core is Benjamin Rask, a financier whose fortune dominates Wall Street during the roaring 1920s, and his enigmatic wife, Helen, whose quiet presence conceals profound influence. The first section, a novel within the novel titled Bonds, presents Rask as a ruthless capitalist whose wife fades into obscurity. This fictionalized account mirrors the myth of wealth and power, portraying Rask as a symbol of greed and Helen as a tragic figure. The second section, a memoir by Rask himself, attempts to reclaim his reputation. Here, he paints himself as misunderstood, a man of principle rather than exploitation. Yet the memoir feels self-serving, raising questions about the reliability of self-authored narratives. The third section, written by Ida Partenza, a secretary hired to ghostwrite Rask's memoir, reveals the manipulation behind the text. Ida uncovers the deliberate erasure of Helen's role, realizing that the tycoon's wife was far more central to the story than acknowledged. The final section, Helen's own journal, provides the most intimate and devastating perspective. Her voice, long suppressed, reframes the entire narrative, exposing the distortions of the previous accounts. Helen emerges not as a passive figure, but as a woman of intellect, agency, and tragic sacrifice. Through these shifting perspectives, Diaz interrogates the nature of truth, the power of narrative, and the ways in which wealth shapes history. The novel thrives on contrasts, the grandeur of Wall Street against the silence of domestic life, the intoxicating allure of wealth against the crushing weight of erasure, and the fragile hope of truth against the inevitability of distortion. Thematically, Trust explores capitalism, gender, and narrative control. It is a story about confronting the lies embedded in history, embracing vulnerability, and discovering that truth is always contested. Diaz's prose balances intellectual rigor with emotional depth, ensuring listeners are captivated by both the philosophical questions and the intimate struggles of Helen's voice. The audiobook format heightens immersion, pulling audiences into the layered voices, shifting perspectives, and haunting atmosphere of 1920s New York. By the conclusion, Trust affirms that history is never neutral. It is written by those with power, often at the expense of those silenced. Helen's reclaimed voice becomes the novel's moral center, proving that truth lies not in wealth but in the courage to speak. Major themes: capitalism and power. Wealth shapes narratives and reputations. Gender and erasure. Helen's voice is suppressed then reclaimed. Narrative reliability. Conflicting accounts challenge the idea of truth. History and control. Who gets to write the